city is in the grip of fear. It's in lockdown. We're talking about people who have proven to be unreasonable in the past, and you can only start to imagine the sheer terror that the hostages must be experiencing.
From hostages held in a small downtown cafe on the other side of the world to the rousing debate over terror and torture, there is indeed a line that draws it all together. Our first guest is a former Navy SEAL who retired at the rank of commander after 23 years serving his country. Winner of 2 Bronze Stars and 4 Meritorious Service Medals. Former senator, now congressman after winning in the recent midterms. Let's welcome Montana Republican Ryan Zinke to MidPoint. Congressman, thank you so much for being here today.
Great to be here. Good morning.
Good morning. Let's bring together what we have seen happen in Australia, and we should point out that it is now over. The police actually have the suspect in custody. But we have an Iranian refugee. They're certainly not friends of America. We have an ISIS flag. The people at ISIS, they look to kill innocents on a regular basis. We have an American ally under attack. Do we not have to realize that whether it's a lone wolf or a whack job, there are people out there who are looking to kill us on a daily basis? We must do everything in our power to find them, keep track of them, and take care of them in one way or another before they start killing innocents, no matter where it is.
Well, I agree. I think the first responsibility of the government is protect its citizens. And clearly we're in full retreat overseas. Our allies no longer trust us. Our enemies no longer fear us. And America has to show leadership. And this is what happens when America doesn't lead. No nation is capable of leading other than the United States of America. And I think what we're seeing is a dismantling of our leadership overseas, and it has consequences both overseas and here at home.
We should discuss that as well because, as I mentioned, Australia is an ally, and there have been a lot of discussions in the last couple of months about terrorism going on there. And the Australians have launched strikes as well, part of the effort, if you will, in the Middle East against Syria. So is it not fair to say that when America backs up, it is the rest of the world that will suffer as well, and these people will look to get to us no matter where it is or how it is, but they're going to look to find a way to get to us?
Well, I think that's correct, and it is about momentum. Is when you play defense, all the time, it allows your enemies, to pick and choose where they're going to strike. Certainly in the case of ISIS, there is not a chance that air operations alone are going to be effective against ISIS. So I've always been an advocate really of a 3-pronged attack. First is to secure our southern border, because our southern border now is a nexus between immigration and national security. Secondly, it will take troops on the ground. It will take logistics to make sure we arm our allies with logistics as far as fuel and food and ammunition and intelligence reports. And lastly, we do need to isolate and understand that ISIS is an ideology. It's not a nation state. And seeking energy independence certainly gives us more options in the long-term strategy of this country.
On 90 seconds or so that we have left, a very defiant former Vice President Dick Cheney was on the Sunday shows where he was talking about defense of the interrogation of terrorist suspects. Let me let you hear this first, and our audience as well.
It's all CIA documentation in here.
Chuck,
it is all CIA
Chuck,
documentation.
if you look at it, and if you look at what the people running the agency said, and what Jose Rodriguez said, who ran the program, was a good man, that, as I said the other day, I won't use the word on your show, it may be family, it's a crock. It's not true.
Congressman, do we need to understand that in this day and age, we need to do what it takes in order to protect ourselves, and sometimes we're going to get our hands dirty?
Well, and certainly, and the report was no doubt partisan. There was no recommendations. Bob Kerrey, Democrat, former Medal of Honor winner, SEAL Team 1 alumni, was highly critical of the report. And quite frankly, you look at the enhanced interrogation methods, is that they're not taking random people off the streets. I mean, this is, thousands of hours of intelligence gathering. It only comes to the point where we know something's going to happen and we need to protect our country and our citizens. And when we know that an individual has information that's critical to protect lives, then all available means. Because the consequence of not doing anything is 9/11. It's the series of things that's happening around the world, and these people are evil. Anyone that would decapitate children, crucify villages, run commercial aircraft into buildings and kill innocent citizens, they have to be handled somewhat differently. And there's this push to have Miranda rights on the battlefield. If somehow thinking that a
Hold that thought, if you will,
overseas
1
is
second,
the same.
Congressman. Hold that thought 1 second. We're going to take a break. Come right back with Congressman Ryan Zinke. We'll pick it up from there as MidPoint continues.
So when our leaders in both chambers say, as a commitment, we will fight and we will stop President Obama's illegal amnesty, I take them at their word, but I am confident the American people will hold them to their word.
The fastest 3 hours of news continues. Welcome back, former Navy SEAL and recently elected Montana Congressman Ryan Zinke. Congressman, we heard Ted Cruz, who has angered a lot of people in the GOP, regarding the $1.1 trillion spending bill, what he did on Friday to keep everybody there. Are you angry at him?
Well, no, I think Senator Cruz brings up some very good points. I think this last election shows that America is not satisfied with the direction this country's going. And we've made a commitment to change course and speed. There's going to be some difficult decisions, but certainly Congress has to exercise its constitutional authority, and that's pushed back against what I think is an unlawful administration, particularly on the amnesty issue.
Is he then one of the only, maybe the only Republican who is standing up? And we've had a lot of people on this show say the Republicans need to grow a spine. Is he one of the few who has one then, in your opinion?
No, I think what you're going to see is the incoming Congress. I think they're weighing what's possible under just having control of one body. But certainly, this is an opportunity in the 114th Congress to show leadership, and that leadership is going to have to be exercise our congressional constitutional authority, and there's no excuses. The Speaker can't blame it on Senator Reid, who's no longer there, who has protected the President in the past. Mitch McConnell, I assume he's going to be the President of the Senate. He purports to be a leader, then show me 60 votes, which I think he'll have. And I think Congress, as long as they stay between the hash marks, put reasonable legislation out in front, the President's going to have a decision. Either do what's right for this country or become further isolated.
Where is the leadership, though, when you have Ted Cruz taking such action and you have other Republicans sniping back? For instance, Jeff Flake of Arizona said, I fail to see what conservative ends were achieved by what happened here. So I think we do need to ask, where is the leadership on the Republican Party? It seems as if it is still split.
Well, it's certainly split into this Congress, and now what I'm hoping is that the Speaker and the President of the Senate and the 114th Congress understands what's at risk. I think this last election wasn't necessarily about everyone wants to be a Republican, as I think the electorate decided the direction we're going to the country was wrong. They gave the Republicans the opportunity, the ball, if you will, to bring it up the field, and we have to bring up the ball up the field and do what we say we're going to do. That's address the challenges that face this country. You can't hide from an $18 trillion debt. You can't hide from an immigration policy. You can't hide from tax reform or education reform. These are serious challenges, but I'm an optimist. I think this Congress is actually going to get the ball up the field. They understand the risk of not doing anything. And ultimately, we're going to show that we do have the leadership and the resolve to get things done.
You support Senator Cruz then with what he said and what he did?
Well, there's a lot about Senator Cruz that I do support. I think that he is doing exactly what he said in the elections. I think he's sometimes the system needs to be bucked, and I think his voice needs to be heard.
Would you add your voice to his if he asked?
Well, certainly, depending on the issue, but a lot of times I agree with Senator Cruz that the system as it is needs to be bucked. And it is about being in America, and sometimes we forget it's not about seeing life through a blue or red lens. It's seeing life through a red, white, and blue, and we need to do what's best for our country. And oftentimes, it's going to ripple some feathers, and so be it.
Is there a fear, though, I got about a minute left, a fear, though, that what he did actually helped the Democrats get some appointments through? Because the word out is that Harry Reid's just thrilled with what he did.
Well, you can judge whether it's a plus or minus, net gain or net loss. But I think at the end of the day, his points need to be heard. Certainly, the Senate is in control of the Democrats. The 114th Congress is going to be different. I think the new president, Mitch McConnell, is going to do a good job because I think there's no hiding. Again, there is no hiding in the 114th Congress coming up. No one can blame anyone else but ourselves, and we need to show leadership, and we need to get out in front of it and show that we are going to exercise our authority, and if necessary, put the president, and back off on his agenda.
We wish you luck because, of course, you know what Washington is like. You know what life is like inside the Beltway, and I think we know it's going to be interesting beginning in January and see what everybody does and how it all gets done. Congressman Ryan Zinke.
Well, as a former SEAL, I don't yield to pressure.
I was going to say, if they have somebody sitting in there who's not worried about it, I would think that would be you. You're calm and collected like all the SEALs usually are. All right.
Well, you never yield to pressure, only higher principle. And God bless and Merry Christmas.
Congressman Ryan Zinke, thank you so much for your time. Merry Christmas to you and your family. All right, we'll take a break, and we're back with Legal Eagle Heather Hansen. And at 34 after the hour, the cost of higher education that may not be worth the ticket. It's coming up right here on MidPoint.